All right, I've decided that there's so much news constantly coming at us, so I'm just going to tell the news and talk about it in reckless speed. So here we go.
Speed news.
Another major investigation. Biden's $93 billion scandal that no one's talking about. Como is set to be the focus of a Justice Department investigation. Bruce Springsteen comment about the Trump on foreign soil. That's really despicable. England reports a 25% increase in Americans looking into becoming British citizens. Made this might not work out if I continue on this way.
You just sound like the BBC News now.
That's true.
BBC News.
That's the way I perceive French people to speak when I hear. I speak French, but sometimes they speak so fast. Yeah. That's the way it feels like to me. Anyway, I will be talking about those items if you could catch it. Let's see how fast you are. Anyway, it's pretty wild. So I want to talk about a couple of things. One is that there's Cuomo is said to be the focus of a major Justice Department investigation.
The previous governor of
really? Yep, Andrew Cuomo, because of what happened with the old age homes.
There were like 4 governors with that. It was Jersey, Michigan,
yes, but Cuomo was the main target.
Yeah,
and it's amazing about that particular moment was that he had actually looked to deflect that issue by agreeing that there's a sexual assault scandal on him. You know things are bad when that is your alibi. Oh, I was just raping other people. Yeah. So I didn't murder anybody, but I was just raping people.
Couldn't have been going the elderly.
No.
It was just
yes. Oh, okay. Well, if you put it that way, that's cool. God. So now they're finally investigating him. That's great. And by the way, there is no statute of limitations on murder.
Thank God.
Yeah, there is not.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. I'm glad about that. I've always hated him for that.
Yeah.
And the idea that this guy is going to run for mayor
of
New York, it's really despicable.
Yeah.
Did you know that England has reported a 25% increase in Americans looking into becoming British citizens?
What?
Yep.
No way. Come on.
It's true. Yes. Now, before you think that this is some huge number, keep in mind that's only about 6,000 or so, jumping up 25% from that.
Wow.
Okay? But nevertheless, it's an expression of people's, voting with their feet. But, most of them are Sarah Silverman and, what's her name? The woman moved to Spain. All these losers.
Ellen DeGeneres took Portia.
Oh, really?
Rossi
That's
from
right.
her.
Yeah, to Italy or something?
It's like she could. No, she went to. Yeah, don't take Portia.
No.
You can go.
Portia's okay.
Yeah.
And I don't really think she's a lesbian anyway.
No.
I just don't feel it.
No, I don't think it's possible. Yeah.
That's right. A woman that beautiful cannot possibly be lesbian.
Nope.
All right. We'll edit that out, won't we? Oh, my God. We won't get in trouble for that at all.
No.
Pete Hegseth is also announcing a comprehensive review of the ignominious Afghanistan withdrawal, as he should. Right?
Yes.
That was such a despicable moment in American history. It was the most humiliating, embarrassing, call it what you will, moment in American history. It was the biggest failure. Okay, it's not like Black Hawk Down or anything else like that. This is much, much worse.
Yeah.
So, leave it to Biden, the administration, to make that happen. So I don't know how they justify this.
Yeah.
If you're a Democrat, you can say, look, that was really bad. I make no bones about it. I think he was a good president in every other respect, but yeah, that was bad.
Right.
Okay, every president has bad moments, and that was a really bad moment. He should take accountability for it. I got it. But that's what you should say.
Yeah.
But instead of saying somehow that's no big deal. You know that if Trump had been president at that time, somehow flubbed it up as badly as Biden had done, that the left would be talking about that forever.
Oh, they would impeach him for every weapon. For every round.
And leaving $84 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan and demanding accountability for that. Suddenly they'd be fiscally responsible.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
It's really something. The DOJ is going after Letitia James. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? I have zero issue with that.
Yeah.
I really do. Rest assured, however, that not only that the left will say that this is revenge, but they'll say it's a witch hunt, as to all Democrats. In other words, Trump should have just let everyone kick him in the groin and say, thank you, can I have some more? That's what they expect him to do.
Right.
But the turnabout, I think, is awesome. Is exactly the same thing that she accused Trump of doing, meaning that he inflated or she inflated the values of the press. It's actually worse. She claimed that it was a 4-bedroom place, or a unit place,
right,
as opposed to a 5-unit place, and that gave her much more favorable loan terms.
right.
Also, she claimed that she resided in New Jersey when she's a New York Attorney General. Oops.
Yeah.
Right? So many other crazy things about that. So she clearly lied. Okay?
It is amazing. You don't think
it
of
wasn't
a
even about
prosecutor
inflating it. Yeah.
murdering somebody. Like the prosecutor for O.J. Simpson was also a murderer, and then they convict O.J. Simpson. Like it's
right.
You never think they're going to do the exact same crime that they literally are charging a president with.
Really be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's one thing to do something else that, I don't know, lie on your taxes or whatever. Okay, that's bad.
Yeah.
And Trump should be able to go after that too. But to specifically do the exact same thing, and in fact, much worse.
Right.
Because Trump, you could say, well, this is what I thought the property was worth. You guys do your own due diligence. But no, you lied specifically.
Yeah.
And you said that you resided there.
Yeah.
And they lent you money at a much more favorable loan. It's far worse.
Yeah.
She's going down. That's mortgage fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
God bless
That
it
would be
too.
wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what you call turnabout.
Yeah.
And it's something about, she's so fond of saying nobody is above the law, right?
Yeah.
And there's something about an expression about stones and glass houses, I think, in all this. I just can't remember it. Yeah. All right. Well, she was using the property as her primary residence. Okay, what am I saying? The only argument is that she didn't sign the documents.
Okay.
That would be a defense.
Yeah.
But she did. That she was using the property as her primary residence, in which case she committed fraud upon her New York constituents.
Right.
Because you're saying that you're from New York.
Yeah.
Or that the property was only 4 units and not more than that. But she cannot meaningfully make any of those arguments. So questioning the motivation of the people going after her is not a good tactic.
No.
Okay. So good luck, Letitia. Good luck.
Yeah.
But no doubt she'll pull the race card. You'll see.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
She'll be like,
sure.
It's a witch hunt, and they're calling me a witch, which is horrible.
Oh, man. Okay. So the theme today is something we talked about atrophy. Remember that? We're going to talk about this week.
That's a really good theme. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone is very comfortable saying, look, you got to keep healthy.
Right.
Right? You got to eat right. You got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And do at least 3 times a week. Get enough sleep, of course, right? Get enough muscle mass. That's important for your aging process. These foods are good for your brain. These games are good for your, to avoid dementia, things like that.
Yeah.
And yet, when it comes to civilization, somehow people say, well, let it all hang out, baby.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent. The way they feel about civilization, where they say, well, if you want to love who you love, go for it, baby. You have no obligation. Look, here's the obligation as I see it.
Yeah.
If you're a man, you really need to oblige yourself to meeting a good woman and having kids.
Yeah.
And then raising those kids well.
Right.
And if you're a woman, find a good man, same scenario.
Right.
And if you are less inclined to do that because for whatever reason, you have gay impulses or otherwise, okay, you know what? Try to see what you can do.
Right.
Maybe find the opposite sex anyway.
Right.
And work with it.
Yeah.
Many people do that, by the way, and I my hat's off to them.
Right.
I'm sure it's a challenge, but do it anyway.
Right.
There are a lot of things that I find hard, but I still have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to, I don't know. I don't like to organize myself financially. I'm not good at that.
Right.
But I still got to do it.
You have to, yeah.
I do it for the sake of my family. I do it for the sake of my kids.
Right.
I do it for the sake of paying taxes. These are things of responsibility that, I don't enjoy.
Right.
But it's important. It makes me a better citizen, a better husband, a better father.
Right.
And so on. And hopefully a better lawyer too.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things that are social, like having an abortion, like they don't have the sense of responsibility. Like, you know what? I got myself knocked up.
Right.
and maybe I should just have the baby. I can give it up for adoption, but it's not right for me to kill this baby.
Right.
Charlie Kirk said, by the way, when the people call it a fetus, as to distance itself from the humanity of it, right? Because they don't want to call it a baby.
Yeah.
Because then they would be killing babies, don't you know?
Which they are.
But a fetus, I didn't know this until I learned from Charlie because I did a podcast with him. So Charlie said, a fetus in Latin means little human.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, it's hysterical when you think about it. Okay, fetus.
Yeah.
I'm just killing this petit bébé. That's what you're saying. Anyway.
Das Kinder. I just wish they would have
kleine Kinder.
If you're gonna have an abortion, I wish they would have a Scared Straight where they talk to all the families who lost a child, all the families who had a baby who didn't make it or could not have children, and realize how lucky they are. They won the lottery. They got a winning ticket by getting pregnant, and then they want to destroy it and just throw it away.
It's a little bit like a lot of people on the left especially will be very upset if you eat only a quarter of your plate and then throw it away, right?
Right, yeah, 100%.
It's kind of the same thing. Like there's so many people that would love to have a baby.
Yeah.
And here you are with the opportunity to get pregnant, and you do get pregnant, and you throw it away.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And that's a human life. We're not talking about, some more asparagus on the plate.
Right.
Really, that's a good comparison, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Back to the atrophy thing, though.
Yeah.
So we are letting civilization atrophy. But if you thought of civilization as a human body,
right,
you would say, you're not taking care of yourself, buddy. You need to eat better. You need to do some crunches. You need to do some push-ups.
Right.
Some calisthenics. You need to go running a little bit. Go biking or something. Walk the freaking dog.
Right.
Get healthier.
Yeah.
Right? If your spouse just sat on the couch all day long, at some point you'd say, you're getting fat. You would never say that to a woman. So if a woman would say that to a man, hey, David, you're getting fat.
You do not want to.
You never say that to a
especially
woman.
you don't want to come up to a stranger and be like,
"That's right,
you're getting fat." So let's talk about this.
A wife can say that to her husband, no problem.
Yeah.
David, I'm really upset with you. You're just lazy. You're not doing anything. Well, I'm doing what I feel like. I want to watch the TV. I want to do this. I want to do that. And you would be upset with David there.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you? You'd really disrespect him.
Right.
But aren't we doing the same thing with civilization?
Yeah.
When we say you can love who you love, or not love anybody.
Right.
Have no responsibilities. That don't work. Right? That's the idea.
That's exactly what they're saying. They're loving who they love, but then not loving anybody. Because if you love somebody, you kind of should be in a committed relationship and not keeping it out of your pants the whole time with everyone. You're not really loving anybody while you're kind of physically loving somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Wear what you want to wear.
Yeah.
Say what you want to say, and just not talk to anybody if you don't want to talk to anybody. There's no sense of social obligation. There's not one sense of obligation.
Right.
And that to me is something that the left in particular really ought to think about.
Yeah.
You expect, and understandably expect, your partner to look fit and to be healthy.
Yeah.
If only for the sake of being able to take care of you.
Right.
For, especially if you're not the breadwinner, let's say, and you have kids, you want your husband, generally speaking, it's the husband, you want him to be feel responsible to take care of himself. If I just ate all day what I wanted to eat, I probably would die a much more quick death at some point. I might have a heart attack, and all of a sudden, my wife would be rightly upset with me, saying, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
you're leaving me to take care of your 3 kids with me, and I'm going to be out on the street."
And your
She'd
deathbed,
be right.
Yeah, and your deathbed would be, "I ate food."
Yeah,
that was what my life. Like you're again given this gift of life, and it doesn't last forever. And what did you do? I ate.
Yeah. Well, we say our body's a temple.
Yeah.
And yet, when it comes to civilization, we don't treat it like a temple.
Yeah.
I do. You do.
Right.
I think it's a glorious civilization, so long as we keep it.
Yeah.
But we've got to maintain it.
Yes.
And people are just not interested in maintaining it.
No.
That's the atrophy problem.
Right.
That we talked briefly about last week. And if So get out there. You do your part to help do the exercise necessary for civilization. Keep it healthy.
Yeah.
Because if any of you, look, you know that if you exercise regularly, you eat well, you feel good. You're capable of doing anything. But if you eat crap, candy and chips all day long, and watch TV all day long, and look at the iPhone all day long, smartphone, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah.
And stay indoors. Don't see the sunlight at all. You will have a miserable life.
Yeah.
And yet you're okay with civilization doing that, because that's exactly what will happen. What do you think is going to happen?
Right.
Because if you want civilization to stay the way it is, in terms of you're being able to go to Starbucks,
right,
you're being able to work on your computer and read funny memes and such, well, don't you have to depend on people who have that mojo, that drive, to keep the Starbucks open?
Right.
Right? But only you.
Right.
Only you don't have to work. Only you get to do whatever you want to do.
Right.
They don't see that there are other people behind the scenes actually making life pleasant for them to do these things.
Right. And they're better off doing it. I was told there's an old Yiddish phrase, I don't know, and I didn't know the Yiddish, where if you want to get something done, give it to a busy man, because a lazy man's not doing anything.
Right.
And do you want that to be like, it's either you don't do anything or you shove it in society's faces that you can do whatever you want in the most vile way possible, and that's your life too? Why not actually, either way, just do what you ought to do. You know what you need to do. You know the responsible thing to do, and do that, because time will actually be longer and better. You'll feel better doing that, and society will too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is, with an individual, it's an individual. With a society, we have to understand that we are part of that society.
Yes.
So the left talks a good game about being responsible and loving and such like that, but you're not. You're like the parent that says, "Little Bobby, do whatever you feel like." that's that's going to be a disaster.
Bobby's not going to be happy either.
Bobby will never be a happy young kid. All right, that's it. Done. So you see it? I mean, if you see the comparison, then you right away say, "Oh man, I got to do my part."
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone, do your part. That's the theme. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's somebody who's not doing his part, and that person is Bruce Springsteen.
Wait, Bruce? The boss?
The boss is not doing his part. And I want you to hear what he decided to say in a Paris concert. He decided, by the way, it's not just his concert. Apparently there are 4 other performers there, just wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
So in France, he says the following, in between songs.
But in America, in my home, they are persecuting people for using their right to free speech and voicing their dissent. This is happening now. In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death. This is happening now. In my country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain they inflict on loyal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation.
So it's all this nonsense. Of course, well, take a guess. Do you think that he enters into specifics about what he's talking about? True or false?
Yeah. I think it's a general. Yeah, I think he's general points.
Yeah, so it's all this nonsense. It's claptrap. It means nothing. And what I love particularly is about the free speech part of it. Really? Like, do you even have free speech in France?
Yeah.
In England, they're arresting, I think, what was it, 30 people a day?
Yeah.
Like 1,000 people a month based upon what they say on Facebook. Even if they do a like on something that they consider offensive. And by the way, it's not like saying I like killing Jews or something like that. It's something like I think that COVID was a farce.
Yeah.
That the COVID reaction at least.
Yeah.
And they arrest you.
Yeah.
And that's not free speech. You don't have free speech if you get arrested for things that don't call for the the killing of a specific person.
Right. Or even under Biden, they were censoring anti-COVID vaccine things. They were censored James O'Keefe for a diary he wasn't even going to publish. Like the Biden administration absolutely was censoring us.
Yeah.
And Bruce didn't say anything about that?
No,
he
big
wasn't
deal.
the boss of that.
No big deal.
No.
Oh, man, it's something.
Yeah.
Okay, I did tell you really quickly that, and this is one other thing I want to say in our opening, that the Bidens have a $93 billion scandal that no one wants to talk about yet. Apparently, they gave $93 billion to these random groups after the Democrats lost the election.
Whoops.
And they can't account for it. Like, whoops is the right thing.
Wow.
Like, where do you? I mean, you knew Trump was going to become president. That's what fascinates me.
Yeah.
It's not like they spent willy-nilly thinking that Harris would become president,
Right.
Or taking the chance that she would be. But they knew that Trump was going to be president. They knew that they were going to do the Doge thing. They said ahead of time that they were going to do that. And you still spend $93 billion that you know won't be accounted for. Where is the logic in this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is clearly Biden not knowing what he's doing.
Right.
Okay, this is the auto pen scandal and such like that.
God.
So we'll see how this turns out. It'll be a big deal. Unfortunately, there's so many scandals.
Yeah.
They want to say that they're scandal free, but they're not.
No.
And you have now the auto pen scandal, like I just alluded to. They're finding out that he probably signed all sorts of things without even knowing that he signed it. You do not use the auto pen to sign these major things.
Yeah.
You know, you sign it for bar mitzvah, congratulations,
Yeah.
Weddings, big, general things that you sign. Congratulations on becoming an American citizen, for example. Okay. But you don't do it for bills, and you don't do it for pardons, and anything else like that. Or giving away money, like $93 billion.
It's the funniest thing because do you remember when Barack Obama would sign something?
Please just say Obama.
Obama. He would do like, or Barry.
Okay.
He would do like one pin and he'd do like a little arc and then he'd put it away and then he'd take another pin and do like a little line.
Oh,
remember
yes.
that? It was like 30 pins for
30
his
pens.
thing. And then you have like Biden's like, oh no, I got you, bro. I've got a machine that's gonna do all that. Like,
I got you.
You can't give that away to your supporters either. Like all the pins.
Oh,
like,
so funny.
Yeah.
So, okay, a lot of things are happening about. Of course, it's a never-ending thing.
Yeah.
And we just heard from Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
But Bruce Springsteen is, an unusual citizen. He's not like the normal schmo on the street, like you and I.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder what the average man on the street does think about the Trump agenda so far.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's ask.
Yeah.
Okay, like you, sir. Yeah, you right there. Can you tell me what you think about the Trump agenda so far? Just tell me in your own words. Here you go. Here's the mic.
This regime doesn't give a fuck if you die! These sick bastards in the House just passed their big, beautiful fucking bill, and it's full of cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. That means poor people, sick people, disabled people, hungry families. Apparently your survival is too fucking expensive. And Trump, he fucking violated a court order again. 12 migrants got deported to South Sudan, a country they're not even fucking from. No warning, no chance to speak, just ripped away like garbage, like their lives don't mean a goddamn thing. And now get this, Kristi Noem just revoked Howard's ability to enroll in international students.
Okay, well, sir, I appreciate what you have to say, but can you be a little bit more descriptive about what you're saying? Tell me more. Go ahead.
Not just new ones. Existing international students are being forced to transfer out. These students work their asses to get out here, sacrifice everything, crossed oceans, carried dreams in their fists. Targeted, racist, nationalistic fucking bullshit. And ABC, they just told you to tone it down on Trump. Are you fucking kidding me? Tone it down while the country's on fire? No, we don't tone shit down. We scream. We shove the truth in their faces. We call Trump exactly what he is. A fascist, a criminal, a lying fucking tyrant. June 14th, we fucking mobilize nationwide. Loud, disruptive fears. This isn't a political issue. It's a fucking humanitarian emergency. We rise the fuck up and we do not stop.
All right. So I see how you think, and I really appreciate. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you for sharing.
And really, have a good day. I mean it. I mean, if that's okay with you, I wouldn't want you to upset you anymore by suggesting that you must have a good day. And also, by the way, I say it, don't spray it next time.
Yeah.
I'm going to need some disinfectant here, Devin.
I remember when marijuana legalization, I was like, what's the worst that could happen? Oh.
That's the worst that could happen.
He was drooling.
That guy was just unhinged. And you saw, I mean, obviously it was just a link, but you saw that it was kind of like splicing there. And I think what happened was he got so exhausted from himself that he decided to edit it and then like recompose himself for the next onslaught of his, verbal vomit. It was hysterical. I think that there are a lot of people who think like him.
Yeah.
And this is not surprising, right? We saw this in the 2016 election as well. People, yelling at the sky. That is, I guess, lets their frustrations out.
Yeah.
And good for them.
Right.
Let it all hang out, baby.
Yeah. Oh, man.
They should be embarrassed.
They really should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear this thing about the South Africa president and the video with
yes.
and Trump?
The Oval Office interventions. These are getting awesome. Amazing.
Trump just totally confronted him about these terrible things that they were doing to the white farmers. Yeah. And his response, and I wish I had the clip here, I don't. But the South African president's response is, well, if you look at the numbers, actually, there are many more black people dying than white people. Yeah, because there are far fewer white people there.
Right.
But as a percentage of all white people being killed, it's much higher than a percentage of all black people being killed by the opposite race.
Yeah.
By the other race, meaning black or white. And you don't address the issue.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I just think it's fascinating. When he says, people are saying, where's the evidence of this genocide, right? And yet these same people have no problem calling Israel's actions in Gaza a genocide.
Oh, yeah.
With zero evidence.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like Israel is not saying like, we're going to kill the boar. We're going to kill the boar like constantly and dancing about it.
I was just talking about you're right. I'm glad you brought it up. Because there is that song that they sing in chants and everything else. Kill the boar, and kill the farmers for that matter. And then they get killed.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, hold on. That's out of context somehow.
Good sir, I think you're misrepresenting this.
That's right. They still hold on to their all-important narrative that South Africa is now among the most decent and democratic nations because, it's no longer apartheid. It's a thriving nation. It's better than ever.
Oh, God.
So that is just like totally taken out of context, dear sir. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Which I suppose begs the question, Devin. When was it ever all in good fun, or better yet, contextual, when anyone is calling for the killing of anyone?
Right.
Please?
Yeah.
Like, when did you ever give a pass to anyone saying, let's kill all the such and such people?
No.
When Hitler said he wanted to kill all the Jews, that was just, for fun.
It was metaphoric.
Yes. Can you guys take a joke?
It was a simile.
A simile, yes. Der Fuhrer. Can you imagine a white person in any context singing, writing a poem, sending a tweet, anything, and saying, I was just kidding?
Yeah.
Especially if he were to say that about black people.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, yeah.
It's okay to say it about Jews, apparently. That's what they say. Anyway, it's a tale of two genocides, as it were, only in the sense that one is real and one is not. The news media says that South African president was ambushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like all you liberal media try to do all the time with every politician you meet?
Yeah.
Like somehow they're worried about the ambush.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's all off limits to confront anyone. Or maybe you think you shouldn't do it in a setting of a diplomatic meeting like that in the White House, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. So if Roosevelt had met Hitler before or during the war, he shouldn't have confronted or questioned Hitler about those rumors of him killing all those Jews, right?
That would have been amazing, actually. Oh, my God.
Of course it would be right.
So
they're killing, farmers to such a level that they are fleeing South Africa. they'll get a completely black Africa.
Yeah.
I've no doubt that within 5-10 years, it'll be completely black.
I hope so, and I hope with all of the South Africa, because I don't know if you have that much experience with South Africans. I had actually a professor who was South African. She was very, very liberal. I've known both sides of the spectrum, and they are all, without a doubt, hilarious, hearty, fun people.
Yeah.
The people you want at a party. Like, if you have more South Africans, it's going to be a better party.
Right.
They're just amazing people. Yeah.
All right, I want to go back a little bit to the Gaza situation because we talked briefly about this. And so this is Piers Morgan, and he's not on the right side of this.
No.
And it's unfortunate. I think he's been kind of cudgeled on this one to go along with the crowd. And so here he is speaking to the Israeli ambassador to the UK. And this is a summary that is provided by his show to show how great he was and how he confronted this Israeli ambassador. And he just interrupts her. She cannot talk. She's making her points, but he won't listen. Take a listen.
But you said there were 50,000 Hamas. Others have put the total figure at around 25,000, which begs the question, if after 18, 19 months now, you have been waging this ferocious war against 25, 26,000 terrorists, and you still haven't defeated them, your strategy is failing. How many children have you killed?
Piers, Israel is not killing children. Israel is not killing children. Hamas is using them as human
Israel is killing
shields.
children every single day. And what you're trying to do is be very weaselly with your words.
No, I'm not.
The truth is, you are killing a lot of children. You would argue you're doing.
Why it's caused?
Hang on, let me
because
finish.
Hamas is using them as human shields, and you know
that. Let
that.
me finish my question to you. You are killing a lot of children on a daily basis. That is indisputable. My interesting question for you is, how come you know exactly how many Hamas terrorists you've killed, but you have no idea how many children you've killed?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, my God,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so first of all, he says, let me interrupt, let me finish. And he doesn't let her finish whatsoever.
No, she doesn't get to say anything.
All his questions are rhetorical, and all he wants her to say is, by the way, she's actually responding.
Right.
But he won't let her respond. So this is typical of the way. So the reason why we know how many Hamas terrorists we killed is because we actually target them.
Right.
And once we kill them, or neutralize them, as we often say, that's one more for the good guys,
right,
killing the bad guys.
Yeah.
We don't know how many children are killed because we don't see the extent of collateral damage. First of all, we don't know how many times Hamas is killing the children for their own benefit to ramp up the numbers.
Yeah.
And D, we don't know. Did I get to D or?
Yeah.
I don't know what the letter was. Anyway, the last one being, we don't know that they're just inventing these numbers.
Right.
The Ministry of Health, as they call themselves in Gaza, is constantly fabricating the numbers.
Yeah.
And then later on, they had to reduce their numbers from 50,000 at one point to 15,000. So which is it?
Yeah.
Right. So that's just not a fair question. Like
No.
as if somehow we're supposed to, as if we're going around killing a Hamas terrorist and then 2 minutes later we go out and try to find a Palestinian child to
Right.
kill. And that's the assumption that they make. You are killing children. You are killing children. What would you have us do, first of all? We're not killing children. The Hamas is killing children. They put them in hospitals and otherwise, and mosques. And then there's collateral damage, which they hope to get.
Right.
And then they blame it on the Israelis.
And they will happily fake it.
Yeah.
There are so many times when you see the same child in multiple shots.
Yes.
And he's not dead. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
And if it sucks, Israel doesn't want the children dead.
Yes.
But the other side is avowed to want Israel's children dead.
You're so right. You know who gets it is Marco Rubio, who spoke with reporters in Turkey and dealt exactly with this issue. There was some guy more or less confronting him on the issue of Gaza.
Yeah.
So here's his response.
In a speech the other day that the people of Gaza deserve a better future than what they've had under Hamas. We think that the elimination of Hamas is what achieves peace. We're troubled by the humanitarian situation there. Both the Israelis, with American backing and support, have offered a plan to deliver aid that doesn't get diverted or stolen by Hamas. I've heard criticisms of that plan. We're open to an alternative if someone has a better one, but we are for all the aid we can get without without Hamas being able to steal it from people. But I think all of us would love to see an enduring end to this conflict, which, by the way, would end immediately if Hamas were to surrender. They're a terrorist group. They're a group that kidnapped, raped, murdered innocent people that had nothing to do with the war. And as long as they exist and they're around, you're not going to have peace. This is not a peaceful group. This is a group that deliberately on October 7th committed horrifying crimes, which has triggered this conflict. That said, we're not...
Okay, so there you go. There you go. I mean, and one thing I think he would also add is to release the friggin' hostages.
Yeah.
If you did those things, surrender and release the hostages, that would be the end of this conflict.
Right.
But they seem to want to make sure to destroy as many of the Gazan population as possible.
Yeah.
They seem to want that. They seem to embrace it. And I guess their calculus is that eventually Israel will be forced to just pull out completely and say, okay, well, we'll stop all this, and Hamas, you can continue on because we've had enough.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen.
No.
They're going to continue on with this war. And yes, the whole world can hate Israel, but you know what? You hate us anyway. Let's face it. Yeah. There's nothing we can ever do to please you.
Yeah.
So it's like that in-law that you have that just hates you.
Yep.
Just, or that friend of a friend who just thinks you're the most, and no matter how nice you are to him or to her, they just can't stand you.
Yep.
Okay? Some people you just can't reach.
100%. And just to add to that, I think their goal, because it is so spiritual, is death.
Yes.
And Israel's goal is life.
Mm.
Israel's God is God.
Yes.
Their God is destruction, death. And that's what they talk about. That's how they spend their lives working towards.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Well said. Well said. There's more on this. So they're interviewing people in the street, more or less to the effect of, would you like to have another October 7 type attack upon Israel? Do you think that would be a good thing?
I hope not.
Right?
You
hope not. But so this interviewer interviewed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
About half of them said, no, we really need peace. I'm okay to live with the Jews. So in fairness, because I'm going to play one where they said, no, we want another October 7 attack.
Yeah.
The problem is that this guy embodies so many other people who think just like him. Check this out.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Why not? What do you have to lose?
Well,
go
50,000 Palestinians in Gaza.
7 Palestinians. We already lost more than that, bro. Algeria lost like 1 million before getting free. Mm-hmm. We lost a lot.
Okay.
Basically, we lost a lot.
Okay, until what? So what is the goal?
What is the goal? The goal is to get free, maybe to get them out.
To get what?
To get the Israelis out. That's the goal.
Yeah. So he wants, let me continue on.
The Israelis out of all of...
Yeah, out of all Palestine.
All of Palestine, meaning Jaffa, Haifa, everything. Tel Aviv, they're gone.
We don't want no peace.
Okay.
No peace no more with these Israeli dogs, actually.
Is there any way you could find a way to compromise so you can live, Israelis and Palestinians, as equals?
You can't compromise with the Israelis. They are
Why?
Jews. They are Jews, basically. Jews like... they are Jews, You can't compromise with them. You can't make peace with them.
Why? Explain that.
I can't explain like a lot, but you can't have peace with enemies. That's first of all. Second of all, you can't trust Jews. Mm-hmm. You can't have peace with Jews, and you can't live like with freedom. That's the fact. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only one who's saying that.
How many people do you think here say that?
Here?
Yeah.
Like not less than 98%. Everyone, literally. If they could speak English, they will come and tell you that. Even worse than that. Like, I'm calm, I'm talking to you as a calm, But they would like, while talking to you, they won't be calm.
Okay. What would they do?
Maybe shout, maybe scream.
Ah, okay. I thought you meant they would kill me.
Yeah, if you could speak Arabic, you could hear him like loudly and clearly.
Okay.
All right, so you heard it straight from this guy.
Yeah.
Whether he's right about the 98%, I don't know. But I do think that a vast majority agree with him about this, and that is the problem.
Yeah. And
there's not going to be an uprising. They talk about freedom. They don't want freedom. Okay, that Islam is not about freedom. There's nothing consistent with freedom. If anything, it's about the freedom to be enslaved.
Yeah.
To enslave themselves their way.
Right.
Right. That's not freedom.
No.
But it's so funny how they attack us. We didn't do anything to them. They attack us.
Yeah.
And we're the aggressors somehow. It's weird.
Always with Israel. And it's so, Israel, by their actions, by their words, is very clear, wanting peace, wanting to get along, having Arabs in the Knesset, having different people in the parliament, in their government, and the other side is very clear on what they want and who they're dealing with, and just showing them respect to listen to actually what they're saying.
There was one more clip I'd like to play. This is from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. She's so good. Yes. And I love her clarity, and she just tells it like it is. And she's basically asked, what do you think about Ilhan Omar not necessarily supporting, people, or condemning the October 7 attack? She can't bring herself to do that. So Caroline Leavitt, of course, this is a layup for her. Yeah. And it should be a layup for anybody to say, we condemn the October 7 attacks. And Ilhan Omar can't even say, we condemn the attacks, but the Israelis shouldn't be doing blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. I hate that as much, but this woman, Ilhan Omar, can't even condemn the attacks themselves. Yeah. So it's okay to cut off women's breasts. It's okay to snap off babies' heads. It's okay to rape men and women in southern Israel. Yeah. Right? It's okay to do put microwaves and everything else. It's just insane. And to torch people alive. Yeah. That was okay somehow. That's the message that you can take away from Ilhan Omar. She's your representative from, what is it, Minneapolis area? Yeah. Yeah, here you go.
The great state of Minnesota. Yeah.
That's a shame. So here you go with Caroline Leavitt.
Do you or President Trump have a message to politicians like Ilhan Omar, who only this morning explicitly avoided condemning this act of terror?
It's despicable. And frankly, we have seen a rise in anti-Semitic protests of pro-Hamas protests of terrorist sympathizers. We saw them on our college campuses, and we've seen the Democrat Party turn a blind eye and in some cases actually embrace such anti-Semitic illegal behavior. And that's why this administration has done more than any administration in history to crack down on anti-Semitism. As you know, in January, when the president took office, he signed a new executive order to combat anti-Semitism. He created a commission focused on doing just that. The Justice Department announced their task force as well. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has revoked thousands of student visas from campuses where these pro-Hamas terrorist campus agitators and violent protests took place. And we've also withheld funding from those very campuses as well in an effort to combat anti-Semitism. So the president.
Yeah. So rock on, man. Rock on. That's just awesome. And you can tell the sincerity in her voice. It's not, she's not making policy. She's just simply parlaying it for the sake of the president. But good. Yeah. And you know that this is exactly what the president is doing, and the president is doing this. Yeah. And he is pulling funding from Harvard and otherwise. So this is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. God. Because it came out of did you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, if they said, you know what is going to get really big in the Ivy League? Anti-Semitism. Yes. There's going to be a horrible attack on innocent civilians in Israel, and what side the Ivy League's going to be on side. I would have been consistently, I'm surprised I'm wrong. I would have gotten that wrong.
Kristi Noem has, consistent on this very point, has exactly the same comments, and she wants to say what Harvard is in for. This is what she's talking about.
Harvard brought these consequences upon themselves. Harvard has a history of allowing not just protests, but violent protests where students were assaulted, they were discriminated against, they were verbally abused, and they've even facilitated a training for a paramilitary group affiliated with the CCP. So it's not just pro-Hamas activities that they have allowed to have happen on their campus. They've also allowed participation with communist China.
Harvard already responding to this news, saying it's illegal. We could anticipate some kind of battle royale through the courts, but for now, we wish you the best. Secretary Noem, thanks so much for joining us with this.
Tell them to bring it. I'm on the side of America, and they need to be too.
One last thing, and that's, I had a podcast with Charlie Kirk.
Yes, you did, and it was amazing.
Thank you very much.
I've talked to so many people who are like, wow, Barak just did amazing with that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That was great.
Yeah, it was an honor to be with him. Look, Charlie is an amazing young man. He speaks the truth on so many issues. I'm so blessed to know him. Yeah. And I love his call for God and awareness of God. And he shares with me my deep concern of the consequences of a godless society.
Yeah.
Again, it's wonderful to have faith, wonderful to believe in God, but you have to fight the lack of belief. You have to fight for God. You have to say, look, not believing in God is as dangerous as not wearing a seatbelt, as dangerous as not having, the guard gates, what do you call it, the guardrails on a very steep mountain. Okay,
right.
It's like not having safety mechanisms in an airplane.
Yeah,
not having safety anywhere.
Right.
Okay, you've got to protect God.
Yeah,
and the name of God for that matter. It's not enough to allow people to just descend into atheism. Here's his take, just a little brief part of our podcast. I thought you might enjoy it. Yeah. So take a listen.
Okay, everybody, I'm back in the mobilebitcoin.com studio. Buy and sell Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. As I continue my UK trip, we've had an amazing time so far, and I'm grateful to producer Andrew for filling hour one. I have another amazing interview for you guys with Barak Lurie, author of his great book, Atheism Kills. You can watch this entire interview completely ad-free on members.charliekirk.com. But if you're just listening on radio or watching on Real America's Voice, enjoy this interview. Okay, everybody, very special guest here today about a topic near and dear to my heart and to all of you, but atheism. Atheism, I think, is dying in the West. We'll talk about that. Joining us now is a friend of mine, Barak Lurie. Barak, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Not to be confused with Barack Obama. I'm sure you get that a lot.
All the time. And I do not like it.
No, I'm sure you don't. No, you're much wiser, and you believe in God. I don't know if Barack Obama does or not. But okay, so you're the author of a very interesting and important series of books. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's called the Atheism Kills series. There are 3 volumes. The first one came out in 2017, called The Atheism Kills. The next one was in 2019, 2020, Atheism Destroys. And the last one that is about to be wrapped up, Atheism Steals. And what I do there is I try to show the dangers and the consequences of a world without God. And it's not very pretty. It's going to be a terrifying world if we were to actually adopt atheism as a governing structure. And it's not hypothetical for me to say that. We have ample examples of that, both in the world of fascism and in communism. They were so overwhelming, the evidence was so overwhelming that this is what happens when you operate a government without God. It's a little bit like that old egg commercial. I don't know if you remember it, Charlie, but you put these eggs in a skillet, and then this is your brain on drugs. Yes. Well, this is your this is your world on atheism. It's not a pretty one. I show in these books that atheism kills on an epic level, beyond belief. Hundreds of millions of people have died in the 20th century and are continuing to do so. That has been evidenced by Hitler's reign in fascism, generally speaking. Hitler was not a Christian, by the way.
And I do want to dive into that later. That's one that I get quite often.
Oh, it's an easy response. Communism, of course, was by definition atheist.
Yes.
You had to be an atheist in order to actually adopt communism. It was the engine of communism. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the great Soviet dissident, said that atheism was the central pivot of communism. It could not exist without atheism. Naturally, they wanted to get rid of religion altogether because religion was the ultimate threat to the government. They wanted you to completely be subservient to the government systems, and therefore, what you have to do is just abandon religion altogether. And that's what they largely successfully did in the Soviet Union and to some extent in China. But these are really horrific regimes, and we need to understand that. Aside from that, which is bad enough, it also destroys everything else that we value, things like truth and logic and science, the concept of family, the concept of relationships, the concept of free speech, for example. All these things derive because of our belief in God and our values in that. All right, so you get the hint of it. Go check it out in the Charlie Kirk podcast from May 21. I was really so honored to be part of that. By golly, it was just a great time. So, and I thank Charlie for being able to push this and because it's so near and dear to him. That is the central focus that Charlie has as well.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of great things are happening in America. Let's keep on pushing forward for the greatness of America, for the greatness of God, for the greatness of America, for the greatness of Israel. greatness of civilization.
Yeah.
And remember, we have an obligation to civilization. We all have to go to the gym, so to speak.
Yeah.
We all have to eat well. We have to meditate. We have to get our vitamins. We have to sleep well.
Yeah.
These are critical for the advance of civilization, and we're all part of it.
Yeah.
We talk about civilization. We talk about it as if it's a separate thing. No, civilization is us.
Right.
We are now part of it. It is now our turn to advance civilization. Do you want to get up and go to the gym, or are you going to sit on the couch? Do your part. All right, folks. I guess that's a fitting end. Barak Lurie signing off saying, God bless, be strong, and we'll talk with you next week.